Take a visit to any snow cone stand or movie theater or any other place where young adults and teenagers gather, and you may overhear conversations that leave you wondering, what the heck did they just say?
It's always changing, and I always feel like I'm behind, even though like I'm 21 and I still feel like I'm falling behind compared to the younger ages.
Can you give an example of a word that you would use that your parents didn't understand but that became part of your everyday language?
Actually, I'm from India, so yeah, like we had very different words growing up. Tight means like in thing, like it means like that's in fashion right now. My parents never used to get that.
Modern English is more than 500 years old, but really it is an ever-evolving language, continually tweaked by young people.
Every generation takes the language and creates a sort of code to get away from other people and to make things exclusive. It's one of the things that language does that is so cool.
So you're at home and you would tell your parents that's tight, and they would think, oh, what, his clothes don't fit right, or what?
Yeah, they were like, is it tight for you? And I said, no, it's really tight. It's like, it's good.
A fraternity actually came up with this word called, it's a deek. And I don't know what that means. They kind of like go with it. It can mean anything along the lines of like, oh, that's really cool, or oh my gosh, why'd you do that?
All this youth speak can seem trendy and faddish, if faddish is even a word. But it can lead to real-world change, permanent change in the English language.
Slang, it's constantly being created, and it's used probably primarily as sort of an in-group marker. So different groups of people are going to use it as a way to identify each other as being belonging together, right? And one of the kinds of ways that people group themselves is young people who create new vocabulary to separate themselves from the adults in their lives.
What's an example of a word you heard Kaylin or anybody else in your family say, and you're like, what are they talking about?
Well, it's not really a word that comes to mind, but it's a phrase that they use. I'm down with that. I said, what does that mean exactly?
That sounds bad, but I'm down with that is actually good, right?
Right.
Most of the slang doesn't stick around very long, though. It comes and it goes really quickly. But some words do stick around, and after a while they sometimes lose their novelty, and then they'll end up in the language. We probably don't think of them as very slangy anymore, right? So you can think of just some regular terms, well, probably you've talked about cool, that's a really classic one. Pretty much every age of person uses that, and it's a pretty neutral term right now, but at one point that was very marked, right?
Have you heard on fleek?
Oh. No, I have not. That's a new one.
I haven't heard that one either. Can you define on fleek for me?
Oh, okay. So like on fleek is mean like glamorous or like on point or something like that. A lady came up about it talking about her eyebrows. I believe that's how it all started. And now it's like a huge fad where like if you're looking really good and you think you're looking good, you're like, my outfit's on fleek.
Or even saying that something's toast, meaning that it's over and done with, was for a while particularly temporary sounding, and now it's much more common. Or if you talk about serious when it means intense, like I have a serious hankering for something, right? It doesn't really mean I'm somber. It means I just really want to try something. So a lot of
I don't even think about serious being a slang word now that you mention it, though.
I think it was once a really marked kind of thing, and now it's just an adverb, right? It just becomes a regular word.
And cracking this code isn't just about becoming part of the club. There are some very real consequences for knowing or not knowing the language. And in the business community, that can turn into some very real dollars. Take Taco Bell, for example. There's a company whose bread and butter is the teenage and young adult audience. Taco Bell has a group of younger employees who get together and each week decide what the millennial word of the week is going to be. They define it and spread the word, just kind of in an overall effort to get everyone in the company understanding their customers better. So what are some other words that you may have used to your parents or anyone else under the age of 25 that has made them say, what in the world does that mean?
Yeah, I understand swerve. It's like... it's kind of like that one's kind of hard to explain. Like it could be like, oh, you're talking about something but you don't want to talk about it, so you go swerve, like I don't really want to talk about that right now.
Well, they were talking about bae, but Colleen wanted to say that was old, but I think that I'd never heard anybody say bae before until maybe like a year ago. And then it used to be just like when you're talking about your boyfriend or girlfriend, but now it's evolved into like a joke, and it could be like your best friend or even like a celebrity that you never met that you wish they were like your partner or whatever. You call them bae. You can call anybody bae, and it's just like it's become a joke now.
For the Fort Worth Star Telegram, I'm Gordon Dixon. We'll see you next time. Man, that story was lit. No.
I'm living at the top, and no ice in my drink, got enough in my watch. Yeah. And these girls gone wild, shots got us turned up, so we can't turn down.
Okay, any other examples?
I think like probably turnt. Maybe they could figure that one out from context, but that's a little bit like faded. But my mom didn't know what turnt was either. There was a song about that one too, and she didn't know.
That's a new one for me. How do you spell that?
I think it's like just Turnt, turnt. But like it evolved from the song "Turn Down for What," and then people wanted to get turned up, and then it just turned into "Turned Up" and then "Turnt." The song was, I think, was a party song, and it was like "Turned Down for What," which is basically like saying, "Why would we ever stop partying?" Basically, and so the opposite of that would be like "Turned Up." We're turned up right now, and we're gonna turn down for what? Like nothing. And then so people wanted to go get turned up.
Everywhere I